here they are, and we're heading right in that round one between Taurus and Diligent here.
Let's go, guys. We are off to the races here at the Legend Tournament for RTA Season 34. Let's see what they choose to pre-ban.
Yeah, and look at that. We have Legend versus Legend, as you mentioned, in the very first round of the tournament here. What an absolute banger of a match.
Yeah, this is a real treat, dude. I'm excited. They're taking their time to think about it right now. So, like, given your time with the season, Topa, who would you pre-ban in this situation?
Ooh, the meta is actually quite well balanced in my opinion. We mentioned there's a lot of elemental monsters that are able to be utilized extremely well this season, but there's also those LDs. So it kind of just depends what way do these players want to take this draft, and they're really taking their time. I guess Taurus saw that Diligent has been playing that Yanhong a lot, and maybe wanting to, put Diligent in a bit of a uncomfortable position, just pre-banning that Yanhong out there.
Good choice. I mean, I'd imagine that this first pick here is probably going to be Oliver. Oliver's sporting the highest play rate in the entire season, followed up by Ciara for another speed lead for Diligent, as well as Jogun, who we've already talked at length about.
Yeah, there's no surprise in the draft here so far, but Veronica, we haven't seen this monster since, it took numerous nerfs. Hasn't been in the spotlight as much, but it's a very strong pick here. Taurus does have the higher speed lead into Oliver, and Jogun does not have that high of a base speed, so Veronica can actually match that and even surpass the base speed.
I always get excited when I see a Veronica. Oh man, and followed up by Okeanos too. That is great follow up for opening up the opponent's board with Veronica. This is like some flashy stuff that you don't always get to see on the climb. This is really sick. Let's see how Diligent responds with the Dark Monkey King Sun Zhong Lao. That Dark Monkey King Topa, every time he ripped a third skill in the SWC prelims, he was winning the game.
Oh, I absolutely remember that. That Dark Monkey was doing so much work, and we'll see exactly how much it does here tonight. And I do like these picks coming out of Diligent, picking up that Light Gojo, which has been an extremely strong monster this season as well for secondary speed lead, not backing up on that speed, as neither player really has that high of base speed monsters other than Diligent with his Dark Monkey, but it's likely tuned to go after the buff removers.
Ooh, well said. And now here's Tars potentially giving up that turn one. He doesn't pick up that second speed lead here, so he's just got the Oliver. So he's basically, so if Diligent is so inclined, if he wants to make this a race, he could just ban out the Oliver and see if he's trusting his speed that much.
Yeah, a bit surprised to see Taurus back down here. He does have the higher speed lead as well as the highest base speed in the Veronica. Actually, like Gojo does have a slightly higher base speed than Veronica. But with that speed lead advantage, I thought that Taurus would have pushed that further. But maybe he doesn't have another AoE buff remover to back that up. And Diligent now rounding out his draft with, a third speed leader. Really making sure that he gets a speed lead in here in that Nephthys.
Yeah, he says here, you might have dropped this one, Tars. I got you on this. Okay, so the Verd is gone. Tars taking the speed lead that he wants. And here we go, guys. Set number one in our first matchup here. Diligent is taking turn one.
That is an extremely fast Light Gojo, but really not doing much there, only removing a couple of Will Runes and not getting any absorption of Veronica. So Veronica does cut in and manages to remove the Will off of everyone and reset everyone.
What a great answer to the Dark Monkey King. Just make sure he doesn't have a cooldown to use when it gets to his turn. Perfect. Wish I could have thought of that.
Yeah, that is very fortunate coming out of Veronica. That is another shortcoming of Veronica sometimes, is that, you have so many accuracy resistance checks that you're almost bound to miss one. But when Veronica doesn't miss, I mean, we see what happened here. This game is already over.
Yeah, there you go. Q1 up. That's one in Tars's favor. It's best of 5, so we're going to have Diligent get a little chance to understand his opponent a bit more here. So, yeah, that was a tough call there. I'm the way I see it, Diligent pretty much, I don't know. We'll see how he wants to adjust this. Topa, do you have anything off the top of your head that you think he could maybe improve in the second game?
Well, I'm not sure Diligent really needs to improve anything here. We saw him actually take the turn one there, which is very fast like Gojo. Having or being at a disadvantage there, 9 speed on down on the leader skill, but still taking that first turn. It's just unfortunate that Gojo was not able to connect as much as he would have hoped. So, I don't know, maybe with a little bit of better luck with that Gojo S2, I think Diligent would have definitely taken that game. So, I'm not sure he needs to adjust. I think just get a bit luckier, I guess.
I suppose so. I mean, we had a comment in chat, someone saying, oh, Veronica hit everything, nerf her. It's like, that's kind of been the trend with Veronica. Like you said, she's taken numerous hits in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that during the game too. She has so many accuracy resistance checks. There's 8 of them, right? every single unit on Diligent's side did have immunity, and every single one of them got that immunity removed and got that cooldown increased. And there's double accuracy check both times. So even at a 15% chance, you're actually favored to, miss on one of those at least.
It's very true. We'll see how these ban priorities shift up in this one. Jogun's soaking it up, and so is the Dark Monkey King. I think that's basically Tars admitting that the same game plan for dealing with the Dark Monkey King won't work again.
Yeah, it might not work again, but also interesting is that Diligent is now pre-banning the Jogun. Diligent was the one that drafted Jogun in game one, but I guess now he knows he has first pick. He's taking that Oliver, taking that advantageous speed lead, but Taurus responding right back with the Sierra and that Veronica. Whoa.
Oh, whoa. Is that are we doing this? Oh my gosh. I think Tars is having some fun here.
He's definitely having some fun. Either, just flashing monsters or, bringing out some tech that we definitely were
Wait a
not
minute.
expecting to see. The Light Cobalt Bomber making an appearance here in Legend Tournament Season 34.
He's cooking with a bomb comp. I mean, we know that bombs are really popular this season, especially with the prevalence of things like the Gianna Ciara combo, but that is notably not Gianna.
Yeah, that is definitely not a Gianna. As you mentioned, Taurus does have a Gianna available, but instead he goes for the 4-star bomber. He does have enough buff removers. Both the Veronica and the Chivu are AoE buff removers, and we'll see. This was a very quick draft. Who will take the turn one? I mean, it's definitely Diligent with that Light Gojo again.
Yeah, we've seen how fast this thing is by this point. He successfully steals the immunity off the entire team. Here comes the speed buff as well as the defense boost from the Laura. Cigar is quick to be able to increase the cooldown time, making a comeback from SWC 2024 from downtown, baby. Diligent locking it down, securing a point on the board.
Wow, an extremely quick match again. I think that was a swift Cigar to actually be able to follow up there. That was quite surprising to see. But, we saw the difference here in this game. Gojo did his job. Gojo landed those pushbacks, and I mean the game was over the other way this time. So,
yeah, dude, to your credit, you called it. You said he needs Gojo got the turn one. He just needs to do what he needs to do. He needs to push back attack bars. Like, man, when it works, it really works well.
yeah, but what about that Dover? I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get to see any Dover showcase there, but he made it in the draft. Obviously. Taurus did not have the speed to back up that draft, but I saw the vision, had he gone first. But he also knows that he's not going to be going first, given that Diligent outsped him even on a lower lead, and that Gojo still made it through the draft.
Exactly. It's like we've seen this situation play out when Tars had a 33 lead. It's like, and he still got outsped by the Light Gojo. So I guess what we can all kind of just rest assured with here is that it wasn't the Dover's fault. So if he wants to run that back, I'd be down to see what he's cooking up for us. Finally, Veronica and Light Gojo end up in the pre-ban.
Yeah, finally the Light Gojo ends up in the pre-ban. This monster has been just easily outspeeding Taurus, which is very surprising. I'm quite surprised that we have not seen a Water Monkey or, any super high base speed, like an Efna come out here yet. But both, players are getting one of their AoE buff removers banned out here, and we'll see how they adapt. We'll likely be going in this Oliver into the CR Jogun response.
Yeah, I don't want to be... Oh my goodness, Topa. Heavens, dude, you're a prophet. Look at that. The Shiho pops up in that second pick slot. This is going to be the game where we start seeing different drafts because of two critical units being in the pre-ban. So this might be the most varied out of the games we've seen so far.
Definitely, yeah. We're starting it off, that very classic Oliver into the Sierra Jogun. But yeah, now we're almost seeing like the somewhat of a holy trinity here this season in that Oliver, Shiho, and Okeanos and Diligent now responding with that very fast Laura we saw in the last game, as well as a Fire Megumi making an appearance.
Oh, and he's thinking about redacting it and taking it back. Yeah, and it's the Ciara Gianna. We ran into a lot of these on the ladder when you were doing your wings earlier.
Yeah, we definitely did. This combination has been haunting me all season. But a bit surprising to see Diligent go for not one, not two, but 3 AoE buff removers, and he still has 1 pick remaining. So Taurus really just capitalizing on that, going for that turn one, picking up a Sonya now, as well as that Fire Megumi, and Diligent with, 3 AoE buff removers wasn't enough. Let's pick a 4th one.
Yeah, no kidding. So wrapping up the side of Tars over there, that Fire Megumi at the end. I'm a big fan. I actually really like the Sonya pick because Sonya puts so much pressure on the draft. So it's like Diligent is in a place where it's like, okay, Do I trust that I can either make it through this? Do I trust that I can outspeed, do my thing, or do I just want to ban out the Sonya? But I don't know if the Fire Megami is exactly what I wanted. But I don't know. What do you favor here, Topa?
Yeah, I do favor Diligent's side here, and he has so many buff removers, and, well, no ban on the Sonya. I can't help but wonder, is there a Sonya trap on Diligent's side? But even if you lose a monster, I feel like 3 monsters might just be impactful enough to take this game.
Yeah, let's see. This is exactly what we were anticipating happening. You let the Sonya through.
Oh,
Oh, but it's Sonya proof. It's a Sonya proof Ciara, Topa.
yeah,
What?
there it is. Now we know why Diligent let that Sonya through. No problem, can't kill anything, and that makes Sonya a very useless monster. But Megumi getting that clutch 50-50 strip and the stun there.
Oh my God, that was awesome, dude. Because you also know that they're gonna want to go for the Ciara. There's so many mind games at play here. So now this is very much Diligent's game. Let's see what he does with this opening.
Yeah, well, Diligent actually didn't get that much going on here in the tournament. Taurus getting that very clutch stun on the CR really denied Diligent a lot of, tempo here. Does get the Laura skill 3 off. Bit surprised to see that Oliver did not go for the reset on that monster and opted to go for the CR instead. And that Laura damage is a lot.
Oh, that was a weird amount of damage coming from Laura. That felt like a Nikki skill 3. That was wild.
Yeah, that definitely did. But Okeanos is still standing, and even at, 10% health, he's just as effective as at full health and getting that full team stun there now, locking down the team. Sonya is coming right back, and Taurus is not looking so bad after all.
Yeah, look at that. Dang Skippy, dude. You give Okeanos an inch and he takes a mile. That AoE stun is now giving Taurus the opportunity to take this game back. Not quite enough to take down the Okeanos, though, and Sonya confirms the kill on Laura.
Yeah, Diligent definitely needed, a bit more juice, I guess so to say. There's just way too many buff removers on this side and not enough control.
Yeah, you called that from a mile away. That was great. And now this more is going to come crumbling down, and Jogun on his own is not enough. Suddenly, Tars is at game point.
Yeah, he is. I thought that Diligent would kind of have the upper hand there, getting that, I guess, even tanking the Sonya there. He was looking so strong, but the Laura just didn't connect enough stuns, and Megumi getting, once again, that very clutch steal on the immunity as well as the stun of the CR really shot him down, because otherwise that attack buff CRA, would really have hurt.
That was probably the most important moment of the game, because it's like, that comp with Ciara taking a turn looks way better than her getting stunned by Fire Megami. So yeah, great call. I really think that was the moment. All of a sudden, Diligent's got to be feeling the heat. He's feeling the pressure right now, because this is the show up moment, because now his enemy is at 2 points.
Yeah, Diligent has his back up against the wall, can't lose anymore. But on the other hand, Diligent has won before. He probably wasn't even expecting to be here today. So maybe he's just, making the most out of the moment. And he will be having his light Gojo, which might make a big difference here in this game.
Let's see if they opt to return to the drafts that we saw in the first couple of games featuring those two. I'm sure they will. I mean, the Veronica was so impactful, and same for the light Gojo.
Oh,
You love to see it.
and these are always super fun to see. I wish, we had player cams for these legend tournaments as well. I love seeing this, in like competitive play, and then both the players typically have a little bit of a chuckle, seeing like, yeah, Oliver, yeah, screw that monster. That thing's way too strong.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to see their reaction when they sure they probably laughed at that too. But here's another 33, significantly less play rate for the season. It's Vanessa.
Yeah, but still a very strong monster. And Taurus, I did not know he had that monster, but I am a big fan of this Light Horang, although, those two monsters in the CR Jogan are kind of direct counters to the Light Horang.
Yeah, it's an interesting moment to pick him, because we highlighted this earlier. Is that Ciara very much doesn't care if she's attacking with attribute advantage or not.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, this is actually what I was even playing today earlier on the stream when we were doing wings. When I saw Sierra first pick, I would be going to the Vanessa Horang. So maybe I have to learn. Maybe I've got some things to learn from Tars over here, how to, counter this very meta draft, follow that joke. And as well as, even an oppressive LD such as Dark Monkey, as you pointed out, that thing gets a skill 3 off. It's a game over a lot of the times.
It is. But now, so Tars finds himself in a position where he could almost just ban out the Ciara and hopefully tank this through with the Light Hwarang and the Misty.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking here too. Ban out the CR, maybe go with something like a Veramos or, any cleansing unit. Yeah, if you have a patter,
Oh,
okay, I
yeah.
mean, not all of us have premium LDs like that, so we don't really think about those options. But this is a phenomenal pick. I think as long as you ban out, I mean, in this position, you could probably ban out the Joe Gun to get rid of one of the AoE buff removers or the Gianna, right? You ban out one of the AoE buff removers so that you're likely going to get your immunity to go off the Pater here.
Yeah, exactly. And now the Pater, like you said, will wake up following the Gianna stun, can cleanse and apply immunity to everybody. This is a great counter if you've got it at home. Jogun taking turn one, successfully locking away Rakuni.
Ooh, but I don't think there's going to be enough attack power for the Patter. That is a very fast monkey, and even the Sierra follows up. This Patter might be in trouble.
This cleanse block is, yeah, it's going to be problematic for him for sure. Oh, and he's got his chance right now. He could take out any unit in play.
Yeah, as long as the bomb lands and it
Oh my
misses.
God, Topa!
A little bit of a caster's curse there, maybe, but Diligent getting the violent proc there too, and he's still looking very good with that cleanse block. But the Patter actually, would normally get rid of all those card control debuffs, but that cleanse block is going to be preventing that, and that is a lot of damage still coming from Diligent's side.
Oh yeah, tons of damage coming from downrange here. Everybody's still alive though. No kills left, and also Light Hwarang is still sitting at about 55% HP. So we'll see what can be done here. But now CR's got a second chance at that bomb, and this time it's gonna land.
Oh, and the Sierra is very proc happy there as well, getting another violent proc, getting rid of that Patter here, and now the Monkey doing a lot of damage on this Misty.
Yeah, and the arsenal is full. Lamila dumps everything, and this is starting to look like one of those trailers for Summoner's War where it's just Rakuni taking the heat from everything somehow. Like, yeah, that was awesome. That was a super fun game to watch, dude.
Yeah, Raccoon, he definitely showed up a bit late to the party. He was in the scroll the entire time, and then he gets released from the scroll, and it's, where's my
Yeah,
team?
he's like, what I missed, guys. That was awesome. That was a really funny game. Yeah, I really like what Tars brought to the table, but unfortunately, this is just adding more fuel to the fire of like how the Dark Monkey King uses skill 3 and then just wins.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that cleanse block on the Dark Monkey skill 3 there for a while. So, maybe a Veramos would have actually done a bit better there. Could have be able to cleanse that. Although I guess you would have been stunned, so you wouldn't have gotten the attack bar. That's just, it's just very difficult draft to fight against. And I personally feel a bit validated, right? Playing that
Yeah.
like Horang myself. I can't beat that draft either. And neither can Taurus, That draft is just so difficult to beat with, whatever Taurus was playing. And Diligent was just in full control almost the entire game there.
Yeah, that was a really well drafted from Diligent. And just like that, guys, we're to game 5 in the first set here. This is very cool. Love to see this. I saw a comment earlier in chat basically saying we love this legend tournament, like no pause, just pure 30-second matches, like they feel blazing fast.
Yeah, they definitely do. I feel like both players are coming in this with a lot of confidence. They're drafting pretty fast. Aside from these pre-bans, we took our time at the first pre-ban and we're taking our time again. But we are game 5. What do you expect from two world-class players such as this here?
Totally. I love the Ciara in the pre-ban. That has been a mainstay for Diligent, and I think that's going to have let Tars kind of have to jump through one fewer hoop this game, Topa.
Yeah, definitely. Both players pre-banned Oliver last time, so Taurus knows that he's going to be having that first pick and knows that Oliver will be available. So just choose to ban out that Sierra, taking away Diligence, one of Diligent's speed lead options here. But that means that Diligent will be having this light Gojo available, which has been extremely fast and just outspeeding anything that Taurus has brought to the table.
Yeah, and the return of the Dark Monkey King, dude. He's got to find a solution for that somewhere. Maybe it's putting it away in a scroll.
Yeah, it might be. I'm not sure if we actually have seen this. No, we saw the Jogun coming out of Tar, so we know that this Light Gojo is still fast in this Jogun, but that Water Monkey with the 115 base speed will likely be able to outspeed this Light Gojo. But now we have a lot of LD units from Diligence side.
A lot of new stuff coming out here with the Viva Chell at the end that has yet to make an appearance tonight. So Tars is going to answer back with the Fire Megumi here and the Sonya. So hoping, right, that like maybe the others aren't Sonya proof. Now here comes the kicker is that Laura puts a defense buff. So if you get outsped, you're not going to land that and ignore defense.
Yeah, Sonya, trying this again. Will any unit be Sonyable here? We did see that in previous matches, the Light Gojo does outspeed the Laura, so there doesn't seem to be a threat of a Swift Laura appearing here. So Diligent should be getting outsped here. Tar should be taking that turn one, and we'll see, again, that Zeratul is feeling like a Sonya bait to me.
Yeah, I think so. Like that could definitely be the target for Sonya. Oh, band out the Laura. Okay. And let's see how this goes. This is game 5, the final set of the first matchup here at the Legend Tournament for RTA Season 34. Is it Sonya proof? What? What is it?
I knew it. I knew it. There's no way our Diligent is picking last pick that is not Sonya proof if he's letting the Sonya through. And once again, we see just the little bit of a disappointment that Sonya can be. We know how impactful, just deleting a monster from the field can be. Oh my goodness, what did I just see?
No. Yeah, this is not going that great for Tars right now. To your point, Topa, Sonya is that impactful of a monster. She has fundamentally changed the way that we rune our monsters and we anticipate things to be inside of an RTA game. Here comes Zeratul, able to strike down that Oliver after some help from Viva Chell, and it's... Oh, dude, this is looking crazy.
Yeah, how did that Oliver just get double resisted on that Dark Monkey there too? I don't know, but yeah, Sonya, it is a very defining monster still, for forcing other players to, change their entire rune compositions to combat that monster. But still, if you do, then Sonya all of a sudden just becomes kind of a dead pick, because, she is, although she does have that damage or that glancing chance on her passive, she usually isn't that tanky, and those skill ones don't do a whole lot of damage.
Ooh. Oh, a nice proc gets Diligent back on board so he can do it again. He's just going straight into the Sonya. He doesn't even care about the slight inefficiency. Crazy that lands on the Viva Chell and not the Zeratul, by the way. This is really showing how well Diligent drafts or rather how well he prepares, how well he runes up his monsters.
Yeah, that is crazy that, now on the second try, Taurus, or third try, I suppose, we failed in the CR, we failed in the Zeratul, but now third time is the charm. He finally finds a monster that this Sonya can land on, and this game is not over yet. Dark Monkey does have skills available, but that Water Monkey is very well protected here.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like I think maybe the Zeratul should have gone on the Shiho. I mean, like there's some funny stuff in there, right? The Zeratul can just kind of poke at the Sonya, and it's like, oh, it's pretty funny. But like I think the Zeratul should have gone for the more reliable crits.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that assessment. Sonya, I mean, if you were able to get a crit there on the Sonya, you probably would have been able to kill it. So it's, obviously in hindsight, it's easy to say, yeah, okay, we missed our crits on the Sonya. But had we landed, right, Sonya would have died, and, well, this game's still over. Zeratul takes a turn, just going to delete the monkey, and Diligent will be moving on to the finals here.
Wow, well played from Diligent. Came back from a deficit there. Diligent, who's our number 5 representative from the ladder, our fill-in for tonight, is already making waves through the semifinals.